What's going on, you guys? TBR here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another King of Fighters All-Star video. In today's video, I'm going to be covering a topic just because I'm tired of being asked about it. We are going to be talking about what we can expect over the course of the next month in the King of Fighters All-Star, and that includes the potential collaboration that could be coming up in the next 30 to 40 days. But before we get into all of that and more, make sure if you guys haven't already done so and you enjoy this type of content, you smash that like button and subscribe. Helps me out a lot. Oh, and guess what? It's Saturday, you guys, so you already know what that means. Cue the intro. Alright, you guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Saturday Chat and Chill. I hope you guys had a fantastic week and happy Valentine's weekend to all of you guys out there. In today's video, we are going to be talking about what we expect to see over the course of the next month to a month and a half in the King of Fighters All-Star. So what we're going to be going ahead and doing in this video today is doing a whole lot of looking into crystal balls. So do keep in mind that this is not confirmed information. This is simply going to be an educated guess based on what we know and what we can assume based on Netmarble's prior track record when it comes to the way they do things. So keep that in mind. I don't want to see any of you out there posting saying that I've confirmed anything, because nothing in this video is confirmed. All this is going to be me wildly speculating on what we can expect. Now granted, we do have a pretty good track record here on the channel of being able to predict a lot of this stuff, so there is that, but do keep in mind that we always have the potential to be wrong on this stuff, so this is just going to be my predictions. Now, when it comes to what we can expect over the course of the next month to month and a half in the King of Fighters All-Star, things are a little bit murky right now, and the reason for that is because we are starting to get to that magical time when we might be seeing a collaboration right around the corner. Now, when that happens, typically everything's up in the air. We don't necessarily have as good of an idea on what the release window for a lot of things are going to be around collaborations, because typically Netmarble is going to move things around a little bit to coincide with those. So what I'm going to try and do here is I'm going to give you guys my reasoning on what I think is potentially going to be happening over the next 6 weeks, and you guys can let me know in the comments section what you think is going to happen, but this is just going to be my predictions. So the first thing that we need to talk about is going to be what we're going to be seeing after the banners that we have going on right now. So of course right now we have the special signature volume 5 banners going on, but those only have 3 days left, which means next week we are not going to have a banner anymore. Now, my assumption based on what we are seeing here with this banner is being the fact that early next week we are not going to have a banner. I don't necessarily think that Netmarble is just going to roll out another limited banner right after this. So I do think that next week we might see maybe some sort of mini event update or something small, but there is a large potential that next week we see nothing. Next week we might even see maybe a dev video or something like that, but I think next week is going to be kind of a lull week where we don't have anything going on outside of what we just got with some of these Valentine's Day events. Because these Valentine's Day events right now, they have 11 days, so we have a little bit more than a week on these things. So next week I do think that we're really just going to be living off of the Valentine's Day events. We shouldn't really be expecting much else. However, with that being said, after that 11 days is up, or somewhere within the final couple of days, maybe call it next Friday, next Saturday, Sunday, going into that Monday, at some point we'll probably start hearing about a boss syndrome banner. That would be what should be next if we go by what their usual pattern is, and that would make sense. We have a special signature banner going on right now, so logic would dictate that we should probably see a boss syndrome banner after this. So I would assume that next week we'll probably see nothing after the special signature banner goes away. Gives us a bit of a week there to just go ahead and get this stuff done, and then after that we'll probably start to hear rumblings about some sort of boss syndrome banner, probably Mukai and Psyche at this point is the assumption, and then we'll have that for about 2 to 3 weeks. Now, after that, that's about the time I would say we'll probably see a collaboration. I think that there might have been a small hint towards a collaboration with this latest update, and I'll tell you guys why I think that. So really what it has to do with is it has to do with this gift event. So if we go into this gift event here, you guys are going to have already noticed that we have a generic Boss Syndrome memory here. Now, it would have made more sense that we would have gotten an SS memory, right? That would have been what everybody would have assumed, and that would have been kind of what they've done in the past. However, we got a Boss Syndrome banner memory. Why did we get a Boss Syndrome memory here? I think that the reason why we got a Boss Syndrome memory here is because we're probably going to be looking at a collaboration after this next Boss Syndrome banner, and so they're probably going to be a little bit sparing on giving us generic memories right now. That would make sense, and that would also explain away why we got a Boss Syndrome memory in lieu of an SS memory. Now, of course, that's just speculation, but it would kind of link up and make sense. You know, generally speaking, if we're going to have a collaboration, they're probably going to have SS characters in there, and that would make sense as to why they want to be a little bit stingy right now with SS generics if they know that within the next 4 to 6 weeks, we're going to be seeing some sort of collaboration. So that's partially why I think that's going to be the case. Now, of course, schedule-wise, going into the end of March or so, or middle to end of March, it would make sense that that's around the time we would see a collaboration, and I think that that's probably what's going to end up happening. However, we are still going to have a Boss Syndrome banner before that, like I've already outlined, and it should end up being Boss Syndrome Psyche and Mukai, as long as everything remains kind of consistent with what Netmarble's been doing lately. So that would be my assumption based on what we've got going on. And of course, the next thing everybody's going to ask me is what the next collaboration is going to be. I have no idea, and I don't feel comfortable getting into that kind of speculation because that could be one of any number of things. There's really no way in the world for you to predict what a collaboration is going to be right before it happens. So in my opinion, you're better off just waiting and seeing. I know a lot of people, there was a supposed quote-unquote leak or spoiler where there was the Koei Tecmo line at the bottom of one of the pages recently. I didn't cover that here on the channel, and the reason why I didn't cover that is because I honestly think that that was just an oversight on Netmarble's part. They do that kind of stuff constantly where, especially with like the forum posts, we've already pretty much figured out that they just copy paste and Google Translate those forum posts by the CMs, and they pretty much just half the time can't even get half of what's in there right. Sometimes they even leave the wrong CM's name in the post. So I do think that that was just some sort of oversight. I don't think that anybody should read anything into that. I know some people were going out and trying to predict that we were maybe going to get another Dead or Alive collaboration or some other Koei Tecmo IP, but I really don't think that that was anything to worry about. That's why I didn't cover it again. So like I said, I don't think we can really predict anything at this point when it comes to that, so I'm not even going to try, but a lot of people have asked me. Now, of course, if it were me, this is just what I would like to see. I've actually had a couple of people ask me to do a video telling people what I think would be really good ideas for collaborations, and really, honestly, because the collaborations that I have wanted have really never happened, I still kind of just remain the same with that. So you guys know me, there's certain collaborations that I've always wanted. I've always wanted a Yu Yu Hakusho collaboration. I think that that would be perfect for this game, and Yu Yu Hakusho is an IP that has collaborated with a ton of games, including some that I play. And then, of course, Street Fighter is another really big one. I would love to see a Tekken rerun. I would love to see a Mortal Kombat one. I would love to see any number of things, but typically they're going to be tied to some sort of fighting game IP. Of course, another thing that we should probably talk about here is something that I actually did a video on yesterday, and that's the King of Fighters 15. Now, this is where things start to kind of take a turn in this video, and I need to talk to you guys about this real quick. I'm going to adjust my microphone real quick here. So, one thing that does give me pause with all of this is the fact that we have 3 days left on this SS banner, and the King of Fighters 15 comes out in the next few days. So, there is a small, and I do mean small, chance that we might see something to coincide to celebrate King of Fighters 15. Would it be a banner? Would it be an event? Whatever it might be, there is that potential. I think that if Netmarble were smart and SNK were smart, they would have kind of struck up some sort of deal to do that, to make that happen, to kind of coordinate that, because I think that that would be really good advertisement. So I think that that's something that they should probably look into, or should have probably been looking into. It's probably a little late now if they haven't already done so, but I digress. So I do think that that could potentially be a dark horse in this, but I don't think that there's probably much there. I don't know that necessarily that's going to be something we can expect. However, Of course, we've never had a King of Fighters game released during the run of the King of Fighters All-Star, so you never know. There's really no history there to look at to kind of tell us anything on this, so there is potential there, but I would say that it's small. I personally, you guys know me, I love King of Fighters. If it were up to me, we wouldn't have a collaboration next month, and we would end up just having, you know, a King of Fighters 15 event where we just have a bunch of fighters as SS fighters, or, you know, new limited fighters, or whatever the case may be, for something like that, and just have fun with those. But I don't necessarily think that that's going to happen at all. I just think that that is something that is worth mentioning because of the time frame. But at the same time, I do think that the next thing we're going to see, Boss Syndrome, Mukai, and Psyche, probably not next week, but the week after, and then we'll probably see a collaboration within the next, you know, month and a half or so, call it that. So I think that that's probably what we're looking at least by the end of March. We'll probably know what we're looking at as far as a collaboration, or we will already have a collaboration by that time. So fingers crossed that it's something that makes everybody happy, but I digress. So that is pretty much what I think is going to be happening. So for all of you guys out there that have been asking me, hopefully that answers your questions. If you guys have differing ideas on what's going to happen, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always curious. Let me know what kind of collaboration you're looking for. I'm sure most of you are wanting Street Fighter, and I apologize in advance that it's probably not going to be that, but hey, fingers crossed again, right? So anyway, you guys, that is going to be the Saturday Chat and Chill this week. I hope you all found it enjoyable. If you did, smash that like button and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Enjoy your weekends. Peace.
Continue.